Welcome back. Lincoln currency, the 1983 United States 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as the Lincoln penny, represents a fascinating chapter in American numismatics. While at first glance it may appear as a simple copper-plated coin, its story, design, and subtle historical nuances reveal a much deeper significance than one might assume. Minted in the midst of the early 1980s, a period marked by economic fluctuations and rising attention to coin collecting as both a hobby and a form of investment, the 1983 penny stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, who has graced the obverse of the 1-cent coin since 1909. The 1983 penny was produced in large quantities at multiple United States mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each with their distinguishing mint marks, though the most common circulation coins bear no mint mark, indicating the Philadelphia origin, and the Denver coins are denoted by the familiar DE mark, subtly placed beneath the date. This mint mark, seemingly minor, is a crucial identifier for collectors, as even slight variations in the coin's strike, alignment, or surface can drastically influence its desirability and value among enthusiasts. The obverse design of the 1983 1-cent coin continues the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner, a sculptor and medalist of Latvian origin whose work was first introduced in 1909 for the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Brenner's depiction captures Lincoln in a dignified, forward-facing pose with a contemplative gaze, etched with precise detail that has stood the test of time. Every line of his face, the subtle contours of his cheekbones, the iconic beard, and the pronounced collar of his coat reflect not only artistic craftsmanship, but also a symbolic reverence for Lincoln's historical significance. The inscription, "In God We Trust," arches gracefully above Lincoln's head, asserting the national motto in a style consistent with early 20th century typographic tradition. To the left of Lincoln, the word, "Liberty," appears, a reminder of the foundational values upon which the United States was established, and to the right, the date, 1983, signifies the coin's year of minting, a detail that can carry significant weight in the collector's market, especially when considering minor errors or unique variations that occasionally occur during the striking process. These variations can include doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or slight misalignments that make certain specimens rare and highly sought after. Even within a seemingly ordinary year like 1983, subtle anomalies in die striking or planchet composition can result in coins that command thousands, or in exceptional cases, tens of millions of dollars in private sales, depending on provenance and certification. The reverse of the 1983 penny continues to display the Lincoln Memorial, an image first introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial design, also the work of Victor David Brenner's artistic vision adapted by later engravers, depicts the stately monument in Washington, D.C., complete with meticulous attention to architectural elements such as the columns, steps, and pediment. Within the representation of the memorial, a subtle depiction of Lincoln seated can be discerned, though only under careful inspection, reflecting the hidden depth of detail characteristic of U.S. coinage. Flanking the memorial, the inscriptions, "United States of America," and 1 cent, clearly establish the coin's denomination and country of origin, while the phrase, "E pluribus unum," appears above the memorial, translating from Latin as, "out of many one," emphasizing the unity of the states and the philosophical underpinning of the nation. Collectors often focus on these details, as small inconsistencies in the letter's alignment, spacing, or depth can indicate die variations, which in turn influence the coin's rarity and market value. The Lincoln penny, particularly the 1983 issue, may appear mundane in daily circulation, but for numismatists, it represents a continuous lineage of historical narrative and artistic tradition stretching back decades, each coin carrying a story beyond mere monetary function. The physical characteristics of the 1983 1-cent coin contribute significantly to its appeal among collectors and investors. Traditionally, the penny had been composed primarily of copper, but by the 1980s, adjustments in the United States Mint's production methods were beginning to alter its composition subtly. The standard weight of the 1983 penny is approximately 3.11 grams, slightly lighter than earlier pre-1982 pennies due to the gradual transition from predominantly copper composition to a zinc core with a copper plating. This adjustment was driven by economic pressures, as the rising price of copper made it more expensive to produce coins than their face value. The diameter of the coin remains at 19.05 millimeters, maintaining consistency with earlier issues, while the thickness is roughly 1.52 millimeters. The metal composition, minting process, and resultant weight are crucial for collectors, especially those interested in the subtle differences between copper-rich and copper-plated zinc pennies. Some 1983 pennies struck on older copper blanks or with variations in planchet purity can carry significantly higher value, often verified through professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. These services meticulously examine the coin's surface, luster, strike, and wear, assigning a grade that can dramatically affect the coin's market price. Market perception of the 1983 penny, especially regarding its speculative value, is a topic of considerable intrigue. While ordinary circulation pennies from that year are generally worth face value or marginally more to collectors, rare specimens or era coins have occasionally been cited in numismatic literature as extremely valuable. Some sources claim that particular 1983 pennies, due to hypothetical mint errors or unique provenance, could reach staggering valuations in the tens of millions of dollars, with figures such as $54 million being mentioned in sensationalized market reports. While such claims often require a skeptical eye, they underscore the intense fascination that collectors and investors have with seemingly ordinary coins. Stories of extreme valuations can originate from coins with unusual die breaks, significant planchet anomalies, or coins owned by historically important figures, creating a mystique that transcends ordinary market forces. In reality, most 1983 pennies in typical circulated condition trade at negligible premiums over face value, but coins in perfect uncirculated condition, especially with strong luster and flawless surfaces, can fetch hundreds or even low thousands of dollars, depending on buyer interest, certification, and market trends. The symbolism embedded in the 1983 penny is rich and multifaceted, reflecting both historic beyond its standard circulation appearance. The 1983 1-cent coin has fascinated collectors due to the potential for rare errors, subtle variations, and unique specimens that could theoretically elevate its value far beyond face value. In numismatics, error coins are among the most highly sought after because they represent a deviation from the intended production, often resulting from mechanical, human, or procedural anomalies in the minting process. For the 1983 penny, possible errors include doubled dies, where the design is imprinted twice with slight misalignment, off-center strikes, where the coin's planchet is not properly aligned under the die, and clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's metal blank is inadvertently removed. Each type of error has a spectrum of rarity, and even minor discrepancies can cause intense interest in auction circles, sometimes commanding prices that dwarf ordinary circulated examples. Though claims of a $54 million valuation may appear sensational, they are often associated with hypothetical unique specimens that combine extreme rarity, flawless preservation, and historic provenance, creating a narrative that excites both collectors and speculative investors alike. Doubled die pennies, particularly, are a category that has historically fascinated Lincoln penny collectors. While many associate the most famous double die error with the 1955 penny, the possibility of subtle doubling occurring in later years, including 1983, cannot be dismissed. In a double die coin, the entire design is effectively stamped twice, often with a slight offset or rotation, creating a visually striking effect on letters, numbers, or details of Lincoln's portrait. For example, inscriptions like Liberty or the date 1983 may appear shadowed or blurred under close magnification, revealing a complexity invisible to the casual observer. Professional graders often scrutinize suspected doubled dies with high-resolution imaging and microscopic analysis to confirm the error, as small variations can distinguish a genuine doubled die from a mere die deterioration or minting imperfection. Once confirmed, such coins become prized by collectors and can fetch significant premiums, particularly in uncirculated condition where surface wear has not diminished the visual impact of the doubling. Even within the context of the 1983 penny, minor errors like these contribute to a perception that ordinary coins might harbor hidden treasures. Off-center strikes represent another category of error that adds intrigue to the 1983 Lincoln cent. This occurs when the coin's planchet does not align perfectly with the pressed die during striking, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted. Depending on the severity of the misalignment, off-center coins can be extremely rare and highly valuable. A coin struck with 5 to 10% misalignment may have modest collector value, but specimens with 50% or more off-center strikes can command substantial prices. These coins are especially desirable when the misalignment creates an aesthetically unusual effect, such as an apparently floating Lincoln head or a dramatically truncated Lincoln memorial on the reverse. Collectors often compete to acquire such coins for their uniqueness, rarity, and display potential, and professional grading ensures authenticity, as some counterfeit attempts have been known to mimic off-center appearances artificially. For the 1983 penny, even a single verified off-center coin in pristine condition could attract extraordinary interest in auctions, feeding into narratives of multi-million-dollar valuation for the most extreme cases. Clipped planchets represent another fascinating subset of errors. During the minting process, the metal strips used to cut coin blanks sometimes produce irregularly shaped planchets if the strip shifts or is misfed. The resulting coin may appear missing a segment, often forming a crescent-shaped or irregularly curved edge. In some cases, these clipped planchets are partially struck, showing both the off-shape edge and normal design details elsewhere on the coin. For collectors, such coins are visually arresting and demonstrate a rare glimpse into the mechanical realities of coin production. The 1983 penny, while mass-produced, is not exempt from such errors, and examples with a significant clipped planchet in mint-state condition are rare enough to provoke bidding wars and specialty auctions. Coins with dramatic visual anomalies often become centerpieces in collections, their scarcity magnified by the human desire for uniqueness, a psychological factor that drives prices far beyond intrinsic metal value. The market for high-grade 1983 pennies is another aspect that contributes to perceived astronomical valuations. Numismatic grading, conducted by organizations such as PCGS and NGC, assigns coins numerical scores based on condition, luster, surface preservation, strike quality, and overall eye appeal. A coin graded MS65, mint state 65, or higher is considered to have exceptional condition, with sharp details, full luster, and minimal imperfections. Even without error status, a 1983 penny in MS67 or higher can attract significant collector interest. Grading also introduces a layer of trust and verification, essential in markets where claims of multi-million-dollar coins exist. Collectors and investors seek certified coins precisely to avoid disputes over authenticity and condition, which can dramatically influence perceived value. In extreme cases, an error coin in perfect mint state, with verified provenance and certification, could theoretically reach the extraordinary valuations occasionally cited in sensational numismatic media. Historical context also adds intangible value to the 1983 penny. Struck during a period of economic transition, the coin reflects broader societal and monetary trends. The early 1980s saw the U.S. economy grappling with inflationary pressures, fluctuating commodity prices, and technological innovations in minting. The shift from mostly copper composition to zinc-plated cores reflects these economic realities, as copper prices increased and the mint sought cost-effective production methods. For collectors, coins from transitional periods are particularly interesting because they often include subtle variations in composition, weight, or color, leading to speculative premiums for specimens with atypical attributes. A 1983 penny struck on an unusually copper-rich planchet, for instance, could attract attention not only for its metallurgical anomaly but also as a tangible artifact of a specific economic moment in U.S. history. Provenance can further elevate the perceived value of a 1983 penny. Coins previously owned by notable collectors, included in famous collections, or connected to historic events often command extraordinary prices. Auction houses carefully document provenance, tracing ownership and certification to establish authenticity and narrative context. For example, if a 1983 penny with a rare die era was part of a prominent numismatic collection or had been exhibited in a major coin show, the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance could justify speculative valuations in the multi-million-dollar range. While these cases are exceptional, they underscore why some narratives about a $54 million 1983 penny gained traction in popular media. It is the convergence of extreme rarity, perfect condition, provenance, and market perception that fuels such extraordinary claims. Auction history provides one of the most compelling perspectives on the 1983 penny and its place within numismatics. While ordinary circulation examples of this coin are plentiful, auction houses occasionally feature specimens with unique characteristics, sparking competitive bidding and driving public fascination. High-profile coin auctions have long served as a stage for dramatic price escalations, where the combination of rarity, condition, provenance, and presentation can transform an otherwise modest coin into an object of intense desire. In the case of the 1983 Lincoln cent, auction catalogs sometimes described coins with exceptional luster, uncirculated surfaces, or verified error traits, inviting bidders to imagine owning a piece of history that is both tangible and symbolically rich. Even minor deviations in strike quality or surface texture can dramatically affect the coin's grade and, therefore, its market value. This dynamic helps explain why claims of multi-million-dollar valuations, such as the frequently cited $54 million figure, continue to circulate in numismatic circles and popular media. These claims are often speculative, but they underline a fundamental truth of collectibles: perception, rarity, and storytelling can significantly influence perceived worth. Among the most notable categories of 1983 pennies that appear in auction records are proof coins. The United States Mint produces proof coins with an exceptionally high-quality strike, often featuring a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp detail. For the 1983 Lincoln cent, proof sets were primarily minted at the San Francisco facility, denoted with the S Mint mark. These coins are struck on specially prepared planchets and undergo meticulous inspection to ensure flawless surfaces. Collectors prize proof coins for their aesthetic perfection and historical significance, as they represent a controlled and ceremonial version of circulation currency. In auctions, proof pennies with flawless surfaces, strong contrast between fields and devices, and no blemishes often achieve prices far above standard uncirculated examples. The fascination with proof coins demonstrates how even coins minted in the millions for collectors can generate extraordinary interest when technical perfection and artistry align. Another area of focus is metallurgical analysis. The 1983 Lincoln cent represents a transitional period in U.S. coinage, as the mint had recently shifted largely from predominantly copper composition to a primarily zinc core with thin copper plating. This change was driven by the rising cost of copper, which threatened to make the production of pennies economically unfeasible. Copper content in pre-1982 pennies was roughly 95%, whereas post-1982 pennies, including most 1983 examples, are primarily zinc, with copper plating accounting for only about 2.5%. Metallurgical analysis can sometimes reveal slight deviations in planchet composition due to residual copper, impurities, or variations in the zinc alloy. Coins with an atypical composition, whether due to minting anomalies or unintentional mixing of old and new planchets, may be considered rare by collectors. These subtle differences, often invisible to the naked eye, are detected through specialized equipment such as X-ray fluorescence analyzers or chemical tests, providing tangible proof of rarity and, in certain cases, fueling speculative valuations. Such analytical rigor demonstrates that the story of the 1983 penny is not merely aesthetic or historical, but also grounded in physical science and careful observation. Famous specimens, though rare, contribute to the mystique of the 1983 penny. Certain coins have gained notoriety due to their extreme preservation, inclusion in prestigious collections, or documentation of unusual mint errors. For example, a single 1983 off-center penny of extraordinary misalignment might appear in a high-profile auction with extensive photographic documentation, detailed provenance, and professional grading. These coins attract collectors willing to pay significant premiums, both to own a rare piece and to claim association with its story. While the vast majority of 1983 pennies never achieve anything beyond face value, the few exceptional examples occupy a space where numismatic history, human fascination with rarity, and market forces intersect, creating the conditions under which sensational valuations, including claims of tens of millions of dollars, can be imagined. Even if such extreme figures are rarely realized in practice, they serve as a testament to the power of storytelling and narrative in collectibles. The cultural and symbolic significance of the 1983 penny also reinforces its collector appeal. Abraham Lincoln's portrait continues to serve as a powerful reminder of the United States' historical journey, leadership ideals, and moral principles. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a symbol of unity and reverence, connects the coin to the broader architectural and civic identity of the nation. Collectors often speak of the intangible value of owning a coin that embodies these symbols, beyond its face value or metal content. This perceived cultural worth, combined with the thrill of discovering anomalies, high-grade specimens, or proof coins, motivates collectors to invest time, resources, and sometimes significant capital into assembling collections that reflect both personal passion and potential financial appreciation. Numismatics, therefore, is as much about history, storytelling, and identity as it is about economics. Market speculation has also played a role in shaping perceptions of the 1983 penny's value. Articles, online forums, and collector circles sometimes highlight extreme examples of rare coins or dramatic error specimens, creating a sense of excitement and possibility. In some cases, coins with hypothetical errors or extraordinary provenance are claimed to be worth figures like $54 million, though such valuations are largely speculative and intended to generate interest or publicity. These claims, while often unrealistic for ordinary collectors, illustrate the broader psychological dynamics of scarcity, desirability, and aspiration. People are drawn to objects that combine historical significance, rarity, and aesthetic appeal, and the Lincoln penny of 1983 encapsulates these elements in a microcosm. Even when not substantiated, such stories fuel the imagination and underscore the potential for ordinary objects to acquire extraordinary perceived value. In addition to auctions, coin shows and private sales contribute to the evolving narrative of the 1983 penny. Collectors often exchange information about rare specimens, errors, and pricing trends, creating a community that values meticulous observation, research, and historical knowledge. Coins with unusual die characteristics, exceptional preservation, or documented ownership histories become conversation pieces, teaching tools, and display items in both private and public collections. The act of collecting, trading, and showcasing coins like the 1983 Lincoln cent allows enthusiasts to engage directly with history, technology, and artistry, making the hobby both intellectually stimulating and emotionally rewarding. Stories about exceptionally valuable specimens, whether grounded in fact or speculative legend, serve as milestones in the ongoing narrative of numismatics, inspiring both novices and experts to explore deeper into the field. Grading tiers are central to understanding the collector value of the 1983 penny. Numismatic grading provides a structured way to evaluate coins based on their condition, and it fundamentally shapes market perception. Coins are assessed on a numerical scale, with mint state, MS, grades ranging from MS 60 to MS 70, the latter representing a flawless coin. A 1983 penny in MS 60 may be uncirculated but exhibit minor imperfections such as slight bag marks, faint contact abrasions, or minimal luster irregularities. As the grade increases, the coin exhibits sharper strikes, richer luster, and near-perfect surfaces. By the time one reaches MS 67 or higher, the coin has virtually no visible flaws and is visually stunning under magnification. These distinctions are not trivial. Even a single grade difference can result in exponential increases in market value for high-quality coins. Collectors meticulously compare the depth of the strike, the clarity of the inscriptions, and the reflective quality of the fields to determine whether a coin meets exacting standards. Certification by reputable services such as PCGS or NGC provides formal recognition of a coin's grade, which is indispensable for buyers seeking confidence in high-value acquisitions. Visual characteristics are a critical consideration when evaluating high-value 1983 pennies. The obverse must display Lincoln's portrait with crisp lines, well-defined beard strands, and clear definition in the collar and hair. Any softness in these details diminishes the perceived value. On the reverse, the Lincoln memorial must exhibit sharp architectural detail, including the columns, steps, and pediment. The inscription, 1 cent, should appear bold and legible, with no smearing or striking errors. Even subtle surface features, such as luster and toning, influence desirability. Some collectors prize coins with natural toning, which develops over decades due to exposure to air, while others prefer the brilliant copper or copper-plated zinc finish. The interplay of these factors creates a nuanced market where aesthetics, condition, and rarity converge to determine value. High-grade coins with exceptional visual appeal are often auctioned as showpieces, commanding attention not only for their monetary worth but also for their artistic merit. Collector psychology also plays an essential role in driving interest in the 1983 penny. People are drawn to rarity, perfection, and historical significance, and the Lincoln cent embodies all three. Owning a coin with extraordinary preservation or unique minting characteristics provides both tangible and intangible satisfaction. This desire is amplified by the stories that circulate within numismatic communities. Tales of era coins, legendary specimens, and high-stakes auctions create a sense of excitement and aspiration. Collectors are often motivated by both investment potential and the intrinsic joy of holding a piece of history. The narrative surrounding extreme valuations, such as the frequently cited $54 million figure, feeds into this psychological dynamic, encouraging enthusiasts to search meticulously for coins that might harbor hidden value or unique features. In this way, the 1983 penny transcends its small monetary denomination, becoming a vessel for ambition, discovery, and personal engagement with history. The rise of online marketplaces has also transformed the way 1983 pennies are bought, sold, and valued. Platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and other specialized numismatic websites provide collectors with access to global audiences, facilitating transactions that were previously limited to in-person coin shows and local dealerships. Online listings often include high-resolution images, certification details, and provenance information, allowing buyers to assess coins with unprecedented transparency. This increased visibility has amplified interest in rare specimens and error coins, driving competitive bidding and creating new opportunities for exceptional coins to achieve record prices. The digital era also allows collectors to research historical auction results, compare market trends, and engage with online communities, further enhancing knowledge and confidence in high-value purchases. For the 1983 penny, this connectivity ensures that unusual examples, proof coins, and error variants can achieve maximum exposure, increasing their perceived value and reinforcing the mythology of extreme valuations. Rare mint mark variations are another important aspect of 1983 penny collecting. While the vast majority of 1983 pennies were produced at Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D, subtle differences in die characteristics and minting processes can create collectible varieties. For example, slight repositioning of the D mint mark, doubling, or misalignment can make a Denver penny substantially more desirable. San Francisco proof coins, marked with an S, add another dimension of collectability, with polished dies, mirror-like fields, and sharp devices distinguishing them from circulation issues. Collectors often seek out multiple examples to study differences in strike quality, planchet composition, and die wear, building a more complete understanding of the 1983 issue and enhancing the educational and historical value of their collections. These variations demonstrate that even a seemingly ordinary coin year can hide remarkable subtleties for those willing to examine closely. Historical perspective is crucial to appreciating the full significance of the 1983 penny. Struck during the early years, one of the most captivating aspects of the 1983 Lincoln penny for serious collectors and numismatists is the potential for error coins to emerge as highly prized and occasionally legendary objects. Error coins are those that, due to mechanical anomalies, human oversight, or irregularities in the minting process, deviate from the standard design or composition in ways that make them both unique and highly collectible. In the case of the 1983 penny, documented errors include, but are not limited to, off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and variations in mint mark placement. Each type of error not only demonstrates the intricate complexity of coin production but also provides a tangible link to the historical conditions of minting during that period. Collectors often pursue these error coins with intensity because the rarity of such anomalies creates a market in which the value of the coin can rise far above ordinary circulation specimens. Off-center strikes in the 1983 penny can range from minor misalignments affecting only a few millimeters to dramatic offsets that remove a significant portion of the coin's intended design. Coins with mild offsets may be interesting curiosities, but more extreme examples, particularly those approaching a 50% or greater misalignment, are exceedingly rare and can command high premiums when verified by professional grading services. These coins are visually striking, often appearing almost sculptural in nature, and they offer insight into the mechanical imperfections that can occur even within highly industrialized minting processes. Auctions featuring off-center 1983 pennies with dramatic misalignment often see bidding escalate rapidly, as collectors recognize both the aesthetic appeal and the rarity of the specimen. Doubled die coins are another intriguing category for the 1983 penny. A doubled die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been engraved twice in a slightly offset manner, resulting in noticeable doubling of elements in the design, such as letters, numerals, or details of Lincoln's portrait. In the 1983 cent, collectors have reported subtle examples of doubled dies affecting inscriptions like Liberty or the date, though no widely recognized extreme doubling comparable to the famous 1955 doubled die exists for this year. Nevertheless, any confirmed doubled die specimen of 1983 holds considerable interest, as the visual effect, once magnified under careful inspection, reveals a complex layering of design that is both rare and beautiful. Certified double-die examples are frequently highlighted in auction catalogs, often accompanied by detailed imagery that allows collectors to appreciate the minute intricacies that define the era. Clipped planchets in 1983 pennies represent yet another fascinating variation. These occur when the metal strip from which coins are punched is misfed or shifted, resulting in a blank planchet that is partially clipped or missing a segment. When struck, the coin displays an irregular shape, sometimes with a curved or crescent-shaped edge. Such coins are prized for their visual uniqueness and rarity, especially when combined with high-grade surfaces. Collectors who specialize in era coins often seek out these specimens as showpieces for exhibitions or competitive collections, recognizing both their aesthetic appeal and their ability to illustrate the complex nature of coin production. Historical auction anecdotes provide additional insight into how rare 1983 pennies have captivated the numismatic community. While the majority of 1983 pennies trade at or slightly above face value, exceptional specimens occasionally appear in high-profile sales. For example, a professionally graded, pristine MS-67 1983 S-proof penny has been known to attract bids well into the hundreds or low thousands of dollars due to its perfect luster, flawless strike, and mirror-like surface. Similarly, a well-documented off-center 1983 D penny could potentially fetch a six-figure price, depending on the severity of the misalignment and the quality of the strike. These cases highlight how market interest is driven by a combination of rarity, condition, visual appeal, and provenance, factors that collectively can transform a small 1-cent coin into a significant numismatic prize. Extreme valuation myths surrounding the 1983 penny are an interesting phenomenon in both collector culture and popular media. Stories of a $54 million 1983 penny, while largely speculative and sensationalized, reflect a broader human fascination with the idea that ordinary objects might harbor extraordinary hidden value. These tales often involve hypothetical unique era coins or specimens with exceptional provenance, creating a narrative that captivates the imagination. While the reality of achieving such a valuation is extraordinarily unlikely, the myths serve a purpose. They generate interest, excitement, and discussion within the collector community. The speculation itself can drive attention to otherwise mundane coins, encouraging careful examination, research, and a deeper appreciation of subtle variations and errors. Investment insights further explain why collectors might be drawn to high-grade or rare 1983 pennies. Numismatic investment is unique because the asset being purchased is simultaneously a tangible piece of history, an artistic artifact, and a market-traded commodity. While ordinary pennies offer minimal financial gain, exceptional specimens, whether errors, proof coins, or ultra-high-grade uncirculated examples, can appreciate in value over time. Investors in numismatics must consider factors such as certification, provenance, market demand, and rarity when assessing potential value. Coins that combine multiple desirable traits, such as a verified error on a high-grade, visually appealing planchet, are particularly sought after and can experience substantial increases in market valuation, especially in auction settings where competition drives prices upward. Collector communities also play a pivotal role in shaping perceptions of the 1983 penny's value. Online forums, social media groups, numismatic clubs, and publications provide platforms for discussion, comparison, and analysis. Enthusiasts share detailed images, study die varieties, and debate pricing trends, creating a collective knowledge base that helps individual collectors make informed decisions. These communities often celebrate extreme examples, rare errors, and high-grade specimens, which contributes to the perception of value and encourages continued engagement. By participating in these networks, collectors not only expand their understanding of the 1983 penny but also contribute to a dynamic ecosystem where information, expertise, and market trends intersect. Finally, the 1983 penny is significant as a bridge between tradition and transition in American coinage. The enduring design of Lincoln and the memorial connects the coin to over 7 decades of continuity, while the zinc-plated core and subtle minting variations reflect technological adaptation and economic realities. The coin embodies the interplay of history, artistry, technology, and economics, making it a multifaceted object of study. Whether collected for its beauty, historical significance, rarity, or potential investment value, the 1983 Lincoln cent offers layers of meaning that go far beyond its 1 cent face value. It is a testament to the richness of numismatics, illustrating how even the smallest coin can tell a story of craftsmanship, history, and human fascination with rarity and value. Numismatic comparisons are a vital tool for understanding the 1983 penny's place within both the Lincoln cent series and the broader world of U.S. coinage. By comparing the 1983 issue to earlier and later pennies, collectors can better appreciate subtle variations in strike quality, planchet composition, and design details. For example, pre-1982 pennies, struck primarily on copper planchets, often exhibit richer reddish hues and slightly greater weight than the 1983 zinc core coins. This difference, though seemingly minor, is significant to collectors because it marks a tangible transition in materials science and minting practice. Likewise, comparing 1983 pennies from different mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, reveals distinctions in die wear, strike depth, and surface finish. These comparisons allow enthusiasts to identify anomalies and patterns, providing context for evaluating potential rarity and value. Understanding these subtle differences requires careful observation, often using magnification tools and reference guides, and contributes to the meticulous appreciation that defines serious numismatics. Hypothetical ultra-rare specimens of the 1983 penny captured the imagination of collectors and investors alike. Imagine a 1983 D penny struck on an unplated copper blank due to a minting error, a coin that visually resembles the pre-1982 composition while carrying a post-1982 date. Such a coin would combine multiple rarity factors, unusual metal composition, potential die error, and high-grade preservation. While no confirmed examples of this exact scenario are documented, discussions of such hypothetical coins illustrate the boundaries of possibility within numismatics. Similarly, envision an extreme off-center 1983 S-proof coin, where nearly half of the Lincoln portrait is missing, yet the remaining design exhibits flawless strike and mirror-like fields. The uniqueness of such a coin would place it in a virtually untouchable category, both in terms of collector desirability and speculative market value. These hypothetical specimens, while rare or non-existent in reality, serve as reference points for understanding the factors that drive the extraordinary premiums sometimes attributed to rare pennies, including sensational valuations in the tens of millions. Grading charts are indispensable for assessing the 1983 penny and understanding its potential value. Professional grading services use detailed scales to assign numerical scores, which correspond to levels of wear, luster, strike, and surface integrity. For example, circulated coins are graded from about good, AG3, to almost uncirculated, -58 Australian dollars, reflecting progressively lighter wear and more defined details. Uncirculated or mint-state coins, graded from MS60 to MS70, are evaluated for sharpness of strike, absence of contact marks, and quality of luster. High-grade specimens, such as MS66 or higher, are exceptionally rare, particularly for coins that have survived decades without significant circulation or handling. Collectors often refer to grading charts alongside images of known examples, enabling comparisons and informed evaluations. Understanding these grading scales is crucial for interpreting auction results, setting realistic expectations, and appreciating why certain 1983 pennies are prized far above ordinary face value. Preservation techniques also play a crucial role in maintaining and enhancing the value of the 1983 penny. Proper storage is essential to prevent oxidation, corrosion, and surface damage. Collectors typically use acid-free coin holders, airtight capsules, or specialized albums to safeguard coins from environmental hazards such as humidity, temperature fluctuations, and airborne contaminants. Handling coins with clean, Dry hands or cotton gloves prevents oils and dirt from diminishing luster or causing long-term surface degradation. Storage environments with stable temperature and humidity further protect the coin's metallic integrity, particularly for zinc or pennies, which are more prone to corrosion than older copper coins. Attention to preservation not only maintains a coin's aesthetic appeal but also protects its grading, ensuring that certified values remain relevant and credible over time. Serious collectors recognize that a well-preserved 1983 penny can retain or increase in value, while poorly handled coins may lose premium potential despite rarity or error status. Global collector perspectives add another dimension to the 1983 penny's narrative. Numismatics is a worldwide hobby, with enthusiasts in Europe, Asia, and beyond seeking American coins for their historical significance and design. International collectors are often particularly interested in error coins, high-grade specimens, and proof sets, recognizing the intersection of artistry, history, and rarity. For the 1983 penny, collectors outside the United States may prize unusual mint mark variations, rare errors, or coins with flawless surfaces as both investment opportunities and educational artifacts. Cross-border interest also affects market dynamics, as competitive bidding from international buyers can drive auction prices higher, further reinforcing the coin's perception. Detailed error charts serve as indispensable tools for collectors of the 1983 penny, providing a systematic way to catalog and compare known varieties and anomalies. These charts often include columns for mint mark, die variety, strike quality, planchet composition, observed anomalies, and recorded auction values. For example, a chart might track minor die doubling on the Liberty inscription or note slight repunching of the D mint mark on Denver coins. Even small variations, such as the spacing of letters or the thickness of certain lines in Lincoln's portrait, are meticulously documented. Error charts allow collectors to identify coins with unusual features, compare them against verified specimens, and determine rarity within the larger population of minted coins. By consulting these charts, enthusiasts can recognize patterns, distinguish between common and rare errors, and make informed decisions regarding acquisition or investment. For the 1983 penny, error charts serve as a roadmap through a landscape where subtlety and detail can translate into remarkable value. Notable collector anecdotes further enrich the narrative surrounding the 1983 penny. There are stories of hobbyists discovering a high-grade 1983 D penny tucked away in a long-forgotten coin roll, only to realize it possesses unusually sharp strike details and pristine surfaces. These discoveries often spark excitement not only for the coin itself but also for the sense of serendipity and personal connection to numismatic history. Other anecdotes involve collectors traveling to multiple coin shows or scouring online marketplaces to locate proof coins with mirror-like fields and flawless luster. This shared storytelling within collector communities amplifies the perceived value of certain specimens, creating a cultural framework in which the 1983 penny is celebrated not merely as currency but as a symbol of exploration, research, and dedication. These personal narratives humanize the coin, linking tangible objects to lived experiences and lifelong passions. Auction records provide concrete evidence of how collector interest shapes value over time. While the majority of 1983 pennies remain near face value, high-grade or error specimens occasionally achieve remarkable results in competitive bidding environments. For instance, uncirculated MS-66 1983 proof pennies have historically sold in the hundreds of dollars range, demonstrating the premium placed on perfection and rarity. Off-center or clipped planchet examples have occasionally fetched five-figure sums, particularly when verified and documented by professional graders. Auction houses often include extensive photographs, certification details, and provenance notes to attract serious collectors. These documented transactions contribute to the body of market knowledge, allowing enthusiasts to track trends, identify emerging rarities, and make informed purchasing decisions. Auction results also reinforce the psychological appeal of the 1983 penny, as collectors observe tangible proof of the value attributed to exceptional coins. Historical documentation adds another layer of richness to understanding the 1983 penny. Mint reports, production records, and archival photographs reveal the volume of coins produced, the composition of planchets, and the specific dies used at each facility. This information allows collectors to contextualize anomalies, estimate rarity, and assess the likelihood of encountering unusual specimens. For example, records indicating that a limited number of planchets may have been improperly prepared or that a specific die experienced wear earlier than others help explain why certain coins exhibit minor errors or unique characteristics. Historical documentation thus provides an authoritative framework that supports both collector research. Extreme rarity case studies of the 1983 penny provide some of the most compelling narratives in numismatics, highlighting the fine line between ordinary circulation coins and extraordinary collectibles. Consider a hypothetical scenario in which a 1983 penny is discovered with an unintentional off-metal composition, struck on a copper planchet from pre-1982 stock due to an anomaly in mint planchet storage. While such a coin would be nearly indistinguishable from earlier copper pennies at first glance, the date, 1983, would establish it as a post-transition issue, making it virtually one of a kind. Collectors and auction houses alike would recognize the extraordinary convergence of rarity, historical anomaly, and visual appeal, positioning the coin as a potential centerpiece for both private and institutional collections. These extreme case studies, whether real or speculative, illustrate why even modest denomination coins can occupy a position of fascination and extraordinary perceived value. Hypothetical ultra-high value specimens extend beyond composition anomalies to include rare strike variations, unique die errors, and combinations of factors that are statistically improbable but not impossible. Imagine a 1983 S-proof penny struck with a significant double die on the date and mint mark, combined with flawless surfaces and perfect luster. Certification by a reputable grading service such as PCGS or NGC would provide irrefutable documentation of the coin's authenticity, and its auction debut would likely draw intense competitive bidding. The potential value of such a specimen, while speculative, exemplifies how collectors assign extraordinary worth to coins that combine rarity, perfection, and historical significance. These scenarios reinforce the broader narrative that even a 1-cent coin can be elevated to the status of a near-mythical collectible in both perception and market interest. Preservation strategies for future generations are essential to maintaining the 1983 penny's long-term value, particularly for high-grade or rarer specimens. Proper storage begins with environmental control. Low humidity, stable temperature, and protection from direct sunlight minimize the risk of corrosion, toning, or fading. Coins are typically housed in inert materials such as mylar flips, coin capsules, or archival quality holders to prevent chemical reactions with storage containers. Handling must be minimized, and when necessary, gloves or clean cotton cloths are used to avoid transferring oils or dirt from the skin. Collectors often invest in both physical security and environmental control systems to ensure that coins of significant value are preserved intact for decades, maintaining both aesthetic and market integrity. These strategies reflect an in-depth historical context provides a crucial framework for understanding the 1983 penny's significance within the broader narrative of American coinage. The year 1983 falls within a transitional period in U.S. minting, shortly after the major composition change of 1982, when the Lincoln cent shifted from being primarily 95% copper to a predominantly zinc core with a thin copper plating. This shift was driven by economic realities. The rising cost of copper threatened the mint's ability to produce pennies at a profit, and technological advances allowed the mint to explore more cost-effective materials without compromising the coin's design. The 1983 penny thus represents both continuity and change. The familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln remains, maintaining the coin's symbolic resonance, while subtle differences in weight, composition, and strike quality reflect a response to evolving economic pressures and production technologies. Collectors who study these historical nuances gain a deeper appreciation for how macroeconomic forces, materials science, and minting innovation converge in even the smallest coin. Metallurgical comparisons with other years further illuminate the distinctiveness of the 1983 penny. Pre-1982 pennies, struck primarily from copper, exhibit a noticeably heavier weight and a reddish hue that intensifies with time and oxidation. Post-1982 pennies, including the 1983 issue, are lighter due to the zinc core and exhibit a paler color, which may darken or develop a reddish tint over time depending on environmental conditions. Comparing mintages across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco facilities reveals subtle differences in strike, surface texture, and luster, influenced by dye wear, press calibration, and planchet quality. Collectors often scrutinize these differences using magnification, lighting techniques, and reference materials, aiming to identify specimens that deviate from standard expectations. Even minute deviations, such as slightly off-center mint marks, minor doubling, or unusual planchet coloration, can create interest and elevate perceived value. Advanced collector strategies emphasize combining knowledge, research, and methodical acquisition to maximize both historical significance and potential investment returns. Serious enthusiasts often maintain detailed records of coin purchases, cross-referencing auction catalogs, grading results, and error charts. They may track specific die varieties, compare mint mark placements, and study subtle differences in strike quality or planchet composition. These strategies extend beyond mere acquisition to include careful curation, long-term preservation, and participation in collector communities where insights and rare finds are shared. By systematically approaching the 1983 penny in this manner, collectors not only enhance their personal understanding but also position themselves to recognize rare or anomalous specimens that might otherwise go unnoticed. Global auction insights further underscore the international appeal of the 1983 penny. Auctions held in North America, Europe, and Asia often feature high-grade or rare specimens, with participants bidding competitively across borders. International collectors may prioritize unusual mint mark variations, proof coins, or coins with verified error characteristics. The participation of collectors from diverse geographic regions contributes to price volatility and can elevate final auction prices, particularly for specimens with both aesthetic and historical significance. This global marketplace, a final valuation synthesis of the 1983 penny, requires an integrated understanding of all the factors that influence collector interest, historical significance, and potential market value. At its core, the 1983 Lincoln cent is a product of transition, technologically, economically, and culturally. Its zinc core composition, combined with a thin copper plating, differentiates it from pre-1982 pennies and represents an era in which the United States Mint sought cost efficiency without sacrificing the enduring design of Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial. The combination of standard circulation examples, proof coins, and documented errors creates a multi-tiered valuation structure. Ordinary circulated pennies retain minimal market value, generally slightly above face value, while high-grade uncirculated coins, particularly those verified by reputable grading services, command premiums. Proof coins, especially MS65 and above, demonstrate the elevated value of meticulous strike, mirror-like surfaces, and pristine preservation. Error coins, whether off-center strikes, doubled dies, or clipped planchets, introduce yet another tier in which perceived rarity, visual impact, and collector demand can lead to significant auction premiums. The cumulative effect is a nuanced valuation framework, in which historical context, physical condition, rarity, and narrative combine to produce both tangible and intangible worth. Market forecasting for the 1983 penny is informed by both past trends and ongoing developments in numismatics. The coin's status as part of the Lincoln cent series ensures enduring interest, while global accessibility via online auctions and collector networks enhances liquidity and visibility. High-grade and rare specimens continue to attract attention, with prices for exceptional examples showing gradual appreciation over decades. While extreme valuations, such as multi-million-dollar claims, remain largely speculative, they illustrate the upper bounds of perceived value and reflect human fascination with rarity and perfection. Observing historical auction data, collector behavior, and emerging trends in grading and certification allows for informed projections, suggesting that the market for high-quality 1983 pennies will remain robust.